Some techniques that you could apply while you're mixing the opponent. I would say maybe more drive rush or whatever into normal throw situations, etc. Off of normal throw, especially if you didn't have to spend 3 bars to go to it. Drive rush, crouch fierce covers all their wake up options, and it should space you perfectly for that. If they back tech. Yeah, and that's +1 at that range. Let's see. You also get, if you do this, because of the buffs to stand light kick, this recovers much faster now, so she can actually do this. And this will help her bait out drive reversals if the opponent presses them, because it whiffs so much faster than any of her actions could previously. And also, she can shimmy the opponent by whiffing the stand short instead of going all the way into range. So she has that option, which she can use to stay outside of throw range and still bait out the opponent's DP if they try to mash out a DP here. And that will allow you to do a delay SPD. So you can do a block SPD. So you pump the SPD for forward until down back, and then a second later you do up back light or whatever, and that will allow you to block for a second and then finish the DP input, so it comes out super fast. So you can do that here, and then you can block for a second, and if the opponent does a reversal cannon spike or EXDP, you can finish inputting the SPD, and then if they DP, you'll block it. If they don't do anything and they're just standing there, they'll get command thrown, etc. You're at the range where you can still get them to whiff like lights or anything, so a slight delay and then into a light command grab. And if they backdash or back jump, you're further away than you would normally be because you're at light command grab distance, so it'll be less likely that they'll be in range to punish your command grab. So like that. That's one way you can mix up your offense. Another technique is the delay jab to beat their delay throw tech. So most people delay throw tech anywhere from 6 to 10 or 12 frames. So let's say 6 frames. So they will delay tech at about that range, which means that if we're doing this and we walk backwards, we can't avoid their throw. But if we're playing in Classic, we can still neutral jump on their delay tech because of our beefy ass jump fierce, which hits super far downwards. Not available in Modern. She cannot neutral jump in this scenario in Modern, but you can still backdash. And in any case, so, but the way I would say dealing with this makes sense if we can't just walk backwards and shimmy it, but we still want to add some slight delay, is we have, like, so we have neutral jump, which is available in Classic. We have backdash, which is available in both. And then we have, like, 3 more options. We can do a wait and then delay tech ourselves. Now, if we hold down back the entire time, we should let go right before we press the input so that in case they don't do anything, we forward throw them. So down back, and then let go the moment we hit throw, like that. So that way we'll tech in case they delay tech, and we won't leave ourselves too open. That being said, doing that is incredibly risky because if we delay tech ourselves in this situation, we're liable to get hit for a normal throw when the opponent is already kind of pretty likely to neutral jump in expectation of a command grab here. So that will kill us on both the command grab and the delay throw tech. So I don't love that option. There's 2 other things we can do to beat the delay tech here while still waiting. One is a delay button ourselves. Now, this is where the routing gets a little bit complicated, and this depends on both... this also depends on the character we're fighting against, how good their backdash is. Because if we do a delay button, if we do a delay 4-framer, and we wait for like 6 frames... If we wait for like 6 frames, here, I'm going to try to do this on both of them. Yeah, it's quite difficult. If this depends on the character's backdash and not this part of it specifically, but this will depend on how quickly the opponent is liable to do their delay tech. Again, the average human player's delay tech is between 6 and 10 frames. If it's 10 frames, we have a much bigger window to block their DP, but then still get a jab out before they do their delay tech. So, again, how quickly they tech is going to be important here, but in any case, if they tech quite late and have a tendency to tech with a greater delay, this will be much easier and thus much more powerful of a tool for Lily. If they delay tech at like 6 frames or faster, there's like no good way to do this. It's almost impossible to do it at the right timing, so... But yes, if they delay tech, or they just don't have a DP, then using delay button, quite good against normal throw. And the way we layer this, especially if they don't have a DP, then rather than doing delay stand short, we would do delay crouch jab or stand jab. I'll do crouch jab for now because I'm in modern. But this will allow us to beat both back jump and back dash as well. Block for a second, then do crouch jab drive rush. It'll tag the backdash and we can convert that into a combo. Again, the classic combo here would be stronger than the modern combo. If they would get counter hit like this, what can she get off of that? Off of counter hit jet? Can she get standing medium kick in classic? I actually don't know off the top of my head. Yes. Okay. Okay, cool. I'm so not used to the classic inputs. Okay. Whatever. That's probably... You can probably get what? Off of drive rush medium kick. You could get... It doesn't go into that. But it does go into that, and that will allow a standing reset at +2. You have a 5-framer there. And you can command grab them, so that is an option that will, if it counter hits on their delay tech, it'll beat them. This is, you know, this whole sequence does require some... This setup will allow you to beat a multitude of their options and be tricky for the opponent. So if they just stay blocking and don't do anything, you do a delay crouch jab drive rush. If you do an immediate light kick and they mash out a light punch off of this, you will be +5. This depends on the character and their 4-framers. Against like half the cast, you'll be +4, which is not plus enough to do much, but you can still command throw them when you're in this range. So you can do this, and then command throw, whatever. Against some characters like Cammy, you'll be +5 or greater, which if you have win should allow you to combo no problem with stand jab. And then against some characters on their 4-framers, you'll be more plus. It's pretty... There's not a lot of characters that their 4-framers will make you +7 on trade, but you can probably, some of them will be +6, which won't make much of a difference to you. Anyways, so, so this is like a layered mix-up where you can block for a second, try to catch a delay tech. This will allow you to catch movement. This will allow you to punish backdash, especially. This will allow you to catch jump and delay jump. This will catch a lot of delay buttons. This will block wake up 4-framers. And then on back jump specifically, we do that. So jab into DP, like so. So that will give us some other options as well. If we have more wind, the best thing we can do here would be actually in Classic. Would be slightly better, because that would allow us to walk back and use stand jab, which would be better. There we go, I had to remember the inputs. So if you're kind of near to the corner or whatever, you can do that route off of this situation if they jump back. If they neutral jump, you should be able to punish them with a command throw. So normal, no, vertical jump. No, you can just do that. That should be enough. Yeah, so you get basically a similar option that'll go into DP, etc. I was thinking of like... yeah, but, you know, if you were to do... And this would require an incredible level of precision, expecting the opponent to delay tech at a very specific time, so this is also very unrealistic to occur. But, yes, that is a theoretical option. You can input a block SPD, and then turn it into a real SPD, and then into the jump startup frames, and then jump cancel it into the SPD in such a way that you are blocking during the buffer period of the input, during the time frame with which they would do their EXDP would connect with you, but you're in jump startup frames when their throw would connect with you, but then you still input the move before you actually get airborne. Your other option is just, more simplistically, block for a second, then just back jump. And then that'll, like, you can test the waters, and then you don't have to commit very hard. But yeah, let's see. Other just generic basic stuff. I would say drive rush crouch jab is very good. Probably drive rush stand jab as well, but I don't use that obviously in Modern. So yeah, you can encroach your way into space, especially if you get to slide in from like this range into light SPD range or something. Very nice way to steal frames. I've not done the same work that I've done with Zangief to map out like the mathematical value of each individual reset scenario, but I will say that like most likely off of these specific situations, I would say going for a reset makes more sense, especially currently when that works like it does. I would say just take the... Instead of doing the full combo into, like... that, into a knockdown or whatever. Obviously, you would do the version with Crouch Heavy Punch instead, unless you were too far away, then you would do that route. But anyways, instead of doing that as the conversion when you get a hit confirm, one... This is probably a better route, just taking the EX if you don't have wind, and then that makes more sense to do. And then you can spend Drive Rush on the Oki scenario right afterwards. And then if you are in Classic, you should have access to the Drive Rush overhead off of this, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Probably a manually timed one, but you would have access to it, and then you can convert that. And it's good on block anyways. That being said, the high-low mix-up is not as good until you have access to wind, because then you can do Drive Rush low into the wind spires. Like so, and that's good on block. But in any case, another thingy. Right, so you have access to that, and that'll catch them jumping out or backdashing in expectation of you maybe going for the command grab. And you can steal some stocks there. And yeah, I would just abuse this medium like win stock scenario. And so I would take the +9 rather than convert into the full combo. I would take the +9 here and either mix them immediately with a command grab or a crouch fierce. If you land the crouch fierce, go into the medium into that, and then either do command grab or stand jab into like wind or stand jab by itself, and then into like another crouch fierce or something. Like take this +2 scenario. You can do something else. You can sort of walk forwards and see what they do in case they use movement. I would say in most of these circumstances, like, you mentioned that you worry that you command grab too often, and I don't think that's actually the case. I think that it's just that when Lily's strike damage, like, her way of actually locking the opponent down and stopping them from holding up is just very weak strike combos based off of lights, which actually got worse in this version because light scaling got worse. So all these conversions got shittier, and they were already incredibly shitty. So I think that it's less about you're command grabbing too often, and it's just that the character implicitly struggles to keep the opponents on the ground because of how little damage she does. So I will say, any scenario where the opponent, where you have like a frame trap, you're like +2, your default expectation, if the opponent's gonna mash buttons or do anything, you should frame trap them with command grab like a lot of the time. And so you force them to avoid situations by using movement or DP. And then you can definitely deal with movement or DP. So rather than just them mashing buttons, you want them to start jumping back and backdashing. And like in this scenario, right, the only way that we could keep them on the ground or something, the only way that we could punish them is by doing this into wind, which is not only very good damage, but also if they expect it too often, since it's the only thing we can do, they can block the jab and then DI the wind spire, and then we'll just get blown up for that. So instead, I would say implement some just raw drive rushes in this circumstance. Raw drive rush 4-framer, raw drive rush whatever. And yeah, like implement weirder, more delayed frame trap options. Implement like crouch fierce here. Try to check a delay button or a delayed action or anything. And if the opponent, if their action is to backdash or back jump from these scenarios. So if we use crouch fierce here, right? We're going to tag the back jump. We can hit confirm that. We can see that they backdashed, and we can tag them and punish them for that. If they jump back, we can analyze that. Depending on the distance, we'll tag them like that, and then we have a couple not great options, but we still have options if that happens. And then, we also have raw drive rush. And then if the opponent, if the opponent back jumps, we can tag them off that. And if we see that they've back jumped or backdashed, we can also punish them in a similar way. And we can use the same button to look for each of them, so it's easier for us to react since we're reacting with the same button. We just see the back jump or the back dash, and then we time our crouch fierce accordingly, and we'll punish them quite heavily for very minimal cost on our end. And also much less risk. Like, the main risk that we face is running into a delay medium button into like a drive rush or something, and we have other ways of baiting out and dealing with that. And if that's going to be the case, then all we have to do, if the main threat is buttons or footsies, we're back to the place where we're actually strong at, which is we can just wait and then beat their delay buttons quite easily. So, yeah, the main thing that we struggle with is movement, so making our offense weirder and less, like, immediate frame trap based, and more, like, doing specific actions to catch patient blocking, or delay teching, or backdash or back jump, things that specifically punish those actions that are much less costly and much less risky than just spending drive rush cancels on everything. That will allow us to, one, apply more mental pressure to the opponent because they have an expectation that more things will happen that they have to check in different ways, and it becomes more complex for them. And two, it will allow us to manage our resources a lot better.